Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back, and today I want to talk about some exotic armor pieces to use for PvP while we're in the Revelry, and I haven't given my full thoughts on this event yet, but probably will when the event's wrapping up. There's a lot of good to it, but then again there's a lot of bad to it. We have one more week left, and I figure since this is going on anyway, a lot of us like the Crucible, that I might as well talk about what I like using and why I like using it. There are various routes you can take with the tonic to give you a faster grenade regen melee class ability, and sure there are multiple ways to slay out. I'm pretty sure you guys have been seeing Shinobu's Vow everywhere. But today I want to talk about some exotics that kind of ups your counterplay a little bit. They either resist some of the tonic meta or they turn it into something new. Keep in mind this works well for the solo player, but if you have another friend doing this on your fire team, it could get nasty to say the least. And during this time in the Revelry, I have found it is the best thing to do to change it up every now and then to keep it fresh. Before we jump in, we do need to talk about Risk Runner a little bit. With all the skip spam, all the arc buddies from the Warlocks, the pulse grenades from the Striker Titans, there's a lot of arc out there, and I can almost guarantee you that you can get the perk for Risk Runner to proc every match that you're in, and I've actually been using it to get it masterworked, doing it PvP only during this time of Revelry. It's a very fun option. I wouldn't get stacked teams before running Shinobu's Vow, and 3 or 4 of them had to switch to Gunslinger because it was wrecking them that bad. But let's get to the armor. Let's start off with one of my favorites when the Revelry dropped, and you don't see too many of these. They're very good. You see them every now and then. There's only a certain number of exotics, so you're going to see them, but it's going to be the Sun Bracers for the Warlock. These are tied to your solar grenade. They got a buff way back when you get a melee kill, you get unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time, and also the solar grenades last longer. The Sun Bracers themselves increase the duration of solar grenades. That alone is a highlight. With this, obviously, you want to use your tonic for your grenade. Then you're allowed to throw them at a faster pace with that tonic buff, and the buff's going to allow you to throw another one while the first one's still burning. It's been one of my favorite things to use, and it's kind of why we're starting here, because you can lock down anywhere you want. Throw them in choke points. I played against 6 stacks running pure meta, and with these gauntlets, they can make some teams helpless. Anywhere you see red, you throw a grenade, and if they decide to try it, they're going to get burned coming for you, and they take a lot of damage doing that. And the grenades come so often that you can take any area like you're seeing in this gameplay, lock it down. And a lot of the time, players get frustrated. Someone will try you, they get burnt going through the grenade, so you just melee them. Without the tonic, if you get the melee, it's super fast, but with the tonic, when you get that new perk activated, these come out instantly like Destiny 1 Radiance. They burn long and they cause issues. I found that control is going to be the best choice because you can put it down on a flag or paths to the flag. I exclusively stay around B flag with Sun Bracers, throwing solar grenades at all entry points, and when I see red on my radar, the first grenade gets thrown on the zone itself, and then I go from there. The Sun Bracers check all the boxes. Again, it's one of my favorites with the tonics. It's a lot of fun. Next up for the Warlock is the Controverse Hold. I made a video on this exotic months ago. There's a link down below and on the screen right now. The big thing about these gloves is how much damage they mitigate. When you're charging your grenade, you receive 40% less damage. That's huge. When skips and other grenades are thrown at you, you just charge the grenade. Pop a rift in between and just hold that grenade. When you walk or jump glide through choke points, you hold the grenade. Because you just hold and tank a couple shots and then get out of the way. And I use them, again, exclusively around B when playing control, because with these gloves, you can withstand a lot of what's thrown at you with the tonics. Not to mention, depending on what subclass you run, and I talked about it in the review, the bottom tree Devour is really bad for this exotic, but it works really well with the tonic during the Revelry. Strictly due to tanking damage, because what you gain now is having Devour on demand at any given time. So you can pop Devour. If nades come at you, you charge your grenade to tank the damage, you get the kill, and then you start getting Devour going. The middle tree, Nova Warp, has been constantly reworked, but honestly it's probably still going to be the best, because the handheld Supernova is the best grenade in the game for PvP. You have that grenade every couple seconds on top of the Controverse Hold. This is the one I've been using the most, because the grenade is so above and beyond. But the top tree, we have the Bloom tree. That's another good option. You can throw out a supercharged Axion Bolt. Those aggressively seek. If you get a kill, Bloom can get you collaterals. And you can throw those super Vortex, Axion, scatter grenades all the time. And those grenades are really good, but you have Controverse Hold now. It goes hand in hand with what you're doing. Very solid for offensive and defensive. I do have one more for the Warlock that I really like, and it's the Street Fighter build. If you haven't tried this, I highly encourage you to, at least for this week with the tonic, because it's a blast. It revolves around the Claws of Ahamkara. These grant an extra melee charge. You use Middle Tree Storm specifically for ball lightning, fire an arc projectile that travels forward and releases a perpendicular bolt of lightning. Your super is Chaos Reach, and you have constant Hadoukens. And to be completely honest, I say it to myself sometimes in my mind when I throw them, it cracks me up. It's all fun and games, but running the claws with ball lightning and the tonic is actually really good. You can lead a lot of your engagements with it, and remember, they travel a certain distance and then they explode downwards. They're kind of like traps. It's a completely different way to play, and I actually haven't seen anyone doing this. This might be in the middle of the video, but it's actually one of my top 3 things to do during the Revelry. Try it out. For the Hunter, there's a couple. You've seen them. The Gemini Jester spam, right? It's a really mean thing to do. It can take away your enemy's radar the entire game if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But I find the most value in the Worm Husk Crown, to be honest. Once it was a very powerful exotic, but now with the tonic on your subclass ability, you have health on demand. It's very important. And you're starting to see these hunters more and more as the Revelry goes on, because what I do is run Top Tree Night Stalker. This is your regular tether, and it also lets you go invisible when you shade step, so you can be invisible all game, because you're using that tonic on your class ability. And that's going to be the key. If you play it right, you're going to get first shot a lot of the time in engagements, because first shot means you're going to get the kill most of the time. With the Worm Husk, you can survive the skip grenade spam, survive being naded out. And one of my favorite things right now is to pair this setup with the Risk Runner that we talked about earlier, because you can just keep eating those grenades, getting Risk Runner to proc, and then you start stalking down your enemy with Arc Conductor. I guarantee you they start taking notes. It might be one of the only builds that completely stops the nade spam. Most of the time, those Shinobu's Vow players, they just randomly throw grenades as they spawn. They throw them around corners. And you start making them think twice when they randomly throw a grenade. Because I will actually hunt down the skips that don't touch anyone, and I just hit them real quick to get Arc Conductor going. Shade Step immediately to get the health back. While Sunbracers has been my favorite for the Warlock, the Top Tree Worm Husk with the Risk Runner has been my favorite for the Hunter. The Hunter also has another very annoying exotic. It's the Young Ahamkara Spines. You put on the Grenade Tonic, and this exotic helps the trip mine last longer and have a bigger blast radius. Ability damage grants more trip mine energy. And since they last a long time, just like the Solar Grenades, you can really lock down an area. I mean, really lock it down. Because these trip mines are extremely tough to take down, and when you do, you have to take a moment out of your day to do it. They have that much health. They don't go down that easily, so when you throwing knife someone, or you get a kill with the trip mine, it's almost an instant refresh on your grenade. I've seen very few players use these and can promise they're very good and more annoying than some of the things you've been seeing right now. Any small map like Javelin, Wormhaven, especially Retribution, it's a literal minefield. You can put 2, 3, 4 trip mines at a choke point and just move on, rotate to another area, throw more, and then you can come all the way back to the original area after they explode. Just like solar grenades, for some reason, players try to go through them. It's just not a good look. Let's jump into Titan. An obvious choice is the Armamentarium Sentinel for double suppressor grenades. You can shut down almost anything, and as a matter of fact, with this event, you don't see too many players complaining about Spectre Blaze. Sure, of course they're strong, but it's been the easiest it's ever been to shut them down. Even if you aren't using Armamentarium and use that tonic on your grenade, with only one suppressor grenade, if you miss, you can just run a little bit and have another shot at it. For the Titan though, one of my favorites is the Crest of Alpha Lupi. Again, we have a defensive theme going with the exotics chosen today. The Crest generates an additional orb of light from supers, but the main one for the tonic is a healing pulse is cast when your barricade is activated. This kind of has a Worm Husk crowned feel to it. The tonic is used, of course, on your class ability. Not only can you barricade any choke point that you want multiple times, but you get health back every time you pop that barricade. There's been a lot of times that I push up or fall back using the shields, and depending on the map, usually a standoff is going to happen, and when that does, if I have my slam, the enemies are all right there. Then when I start getting kills with the slam, you get that little extra orb because you have the crest. And like I said in another video, I'm fairly new to Titan, so I work with what I have, and this setup's been pretty fun. I'm trying to get a couple of my friends to do this with me so we can just have a field of barricades all over the map. A lot of these tonics have made players upset. To me, it's just a huge sandbox change for a couple weeks. It will get back to normal, and granted, this is extreme, but I do find it fun in bunches. And to elaborate more, when I say that I'm having fun with it, it's using exotics like these to go against the grain a little bit. I've used the class ability tonic for, let's say, the Warlock's Alchemy, the one that gives you wall hacks. You can use it as a waypoint, it's pretty wild, but I do know that something like that doesn't sound appealing to most of the players. Especially as something, let's say, Shinobu's Vow, but it's fun in a different way. It's an opportunity for a lot of these exotics to be used, and with that, they're being used to their max potential in a lot of ways. So I do look at it as I have one more week to mess around with these types of things. Things like Dragon Shadow on the Hunter, using that buff the entire game, or the Warlock Starfire Protocol, the one that gives you an extra fusion grenade, or the Ophidian Spathe that grants an extra throwing knife for the Hunter. Different ways to play the game. Again, I do plan on giving my full thoughts on these tonics in PvP in the future, but since we're here, this is what the game is right now, let's at least talk about it and talk about different ways to use these buffs. It's been a couple weeks. What are your favorite things to use? What are some of the more annoying things that you've been up against? The Crucible is where a lot of players spend over 95% of their Destiny time, so with these tonics, I want to hear your thoughts. Sound off in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.
Triple down. Fantastic work. One after another.